Hello, and welcome back to a lecture on experimental research on Chapter 6. In this lecture, I'll be talking about sampling procedures. There are two main categories of sampling procedures: probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling is a method of getting participants from the population into a sample where we can actually calculate the odds of any one person being selected. Whereas non-probability sampling is where we choose people from a population to be in our sample, but the odds cannot be calculated. Whenever we have probability, what we're talking about is the ability to get somebody from the population into the sample. Once they're in our sample, we generally conduct a research project with them, and then we try to generalize those results using inferential statistics back to the population. So probability is almost the inverse process of inferential statistics. If you're to look at that first type of sampling, probability sampling, there's three main ways we can go about engaging in probability sampling. There's simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, and cluster sampling. Simple random sampling is where we just choose people at random. That generally involves using a random digits generator, a random digits table, and we assign people numbers, and then we utilize those tables or those generators and have the numbers randomly come up. People who are selected are part of our study. As opposed to stratified random sampling, what we have with stratified random sampling is we have some characteristic of interest. Let's say we are looking at gender. And we have, of course, females and males. With stratified random sampling, what we do is we would choose people at random, but we make sure we have an equal number of females and males in that sample. Because with stratified random sampling, we want to make sure that we partition the characteristic of interest and we get an equal number of people for each partition. So in our case, if we were maybe trying to control for gender, we'd want to make sure we have an equal number of females and males as being the two qualities of the characteristic that we are controlling for. Cluster sampling is where we have some sort of existing group already. So perhaps this is you looking at people in the prison population. And instead of going to all the prisons in California, perhaps you would choose at random certain prisons to go to. That's an example of cluster sampling. You see the existing clusters, and then you randomly select a cluster, utilizing everybody within that cluster to be part of your sample. The type of non-probability sampling that you're probably actually most familiar with is the idea of convenience sampling. And this is where we get people who are interested to become participants to just volunteer their time. These people are generally conveniently located to the researcher in that they're either friends, family, acquaintances, or in their nearby area. Just as a heads up, my personal pet peeve is that whenever you mention that you've engaged in convenience sampling, Word document will try and change it to convenience sampling. Don't let it. It is convenience sampling. So now I hope you're a little bit more comfortable understanding probability sampling and non-probability sampling.